Hey everybody, we're back from FanBoy Expo Tampa and we're really tired, but we're going to go ahead and do our SYFY Friday on Sunday review. This time we're going to be reviewing Defiance Season 3 Episode 7, Killjoys Season 1 Episode 6, and Dark Matter Season 1 Episode 7. So, if you're not totally caught up on the Friday sci-fi shows, Defiance, Killjoys, Dark Matter, you're going to want to skip this video until you are caught up because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Starting with Defiance Season 3, Episode 7, titled, "My name is Datak Tarr and I have come to kill you." Super long title. But this was a great episode.
Yeah, it was.
Because we thought at the end of last episode that Datak was dead.
Yeah.
Like, just the way it was edited and cut up. I was like, alright, well, they're not going to show his death, but he's dead. And he's not. The episode opens, and he's still on the shaming rack.
Yeah, he hasn't died yet.
And, well, we'll do his story first. Circumstances align to where Amanda taps Datak to do one last act of honor to redeem himself and to save Defiance at the same time.
Yeah, and if he does it, him and his wife both get pardoned of all of their crimes, although the act is probably going to kill him. In fact, they think it's 100% sure going to kill him.
So the doctor puts something in his forearm that will cause the stasis net to explode and annihilate Ramtak's army. So Datak gets there and he's stalling for time,
Yeah.
and then he tricks Ramtak into thinking that he's going to be a turncoat, and he's like, "Let me prove my loyalty," and he gets his charge blade back and he cuts his own arm off, and they're like, "Man, this guy's fucking awesome!"
Yeah.
And they're like high-fiving with the dismembered arm, and it's awesome because Datak's like, "This really hurts. I gotta go catch my breath." And he's like, "Yeah, dude, go. Yeah, sure." And Datak fucking hauls ass.
Yeah, and gets out of the blast zone so that he saves himself.
And this whole season I've been like, man, screw Datak. Give me to Efkin. He can replace. Now I'm like, oh my god, keep Datak forever. He's awesome.
Yeah. That scene where he cuts off his arm, oh my gosh. Like, he redeemed himself. Every bad thing he's ever done, I'm like, you sir rock.
I am totally Team Datak now.
Yeah.
Other things that happened in this episode, Efkin rescued a family when Defiance became infiltrated by Ramtak's army. And that was a really cool scene because it showed, well, this whole season we've been like, all right, what's Efkin really up to here? Are they going to take over Earth? Because he's got all his Olmec brothers and sisters up in that ship, so what's his endgame here? And we do finally, well, he says later on, but this scene really does indicate that he is kind of having a change of heart.
Yeah. I think that by Olmec standards, Tefkin is probably very soft because he's just kind of, like Stama said, she fell in love with humanity when she got there. Mm-hmm. I think he's fallen in love with humanity. And he doesn't want... I think like the plan initially was to waken his family and they'll take over Earth. Yeah. And now I'm not even sure if they're going to waken the family at all.
I don't know. Did they ever say...
He won't anyway, I don't think.
Yeah, Keensy might.
Keensy might, but I don't think he is. I think he's decided he's just... They will just live there forever.
The people of Defiance have won him over.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they ever mentioned it previously, but I'm wondering what his job was, what his title was with the Olmecs.
Yeah.
Because he seems a lot more like a philosopher than a warrior. So if they mentioned that ever and I just blanked on it or I missed it, let me know in the comments. But I want to know like what his role was in society.
Yeah. Like how is himself and Keensy so different?
Yeah.
Because he's never really been like dominant about we are going to kill the Voltans and take over Earth. And he's said that's their plan, but he's never been very passionate about it. Yeah. And Keensy's very passionate about it. Like she's like, that is the only reason why we are living with this food.
to the point where she actually spit in his face and calls him weak and storms out. So they are, I mean, that relationship is totally broken. I don't see it I mean, maybe they'll work together because they have to, because they're father-daughter. But I don't think that relationship gets repaired.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely ruined. And he predicted it earlier. I don't think Kinsey lasts very long. I think she's gonna die. I think she has to.
Yeah. And the other thing that I want to talk about for this episode is Nolan totally led the bulk of the militia into a trap. Which, I mean, this is, of course, before the stasis net blew. So we're sitting there watching the episode like, okay, Defiance was already, kind of in a pickle. Now they really are, because their militia is devastated.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Datak bailed them out. But now my question is, the one guy's son volunteered to go with Nolan. And then, of course, they all died. What is that guy's reaction going to be?
Yeah, I think that whole thing is going to plague Nolan for the rest of the season. He's already showed signs, like he wanted to be the one who went into the cams, and Amanda wouldn't allow him because
if it didn't work.
Yeah, if it didn't work, she needs him to pull them out of this.
Yeah.
So it's already plaguing him, and he's already going through a hard time. And it's kind of a toss back and forth with him and Arissa, because Arissa finally has kind of overcome her guilt and stuff, and now he's got guilt and stuff. So it's like they've passed it to each other. Yeah.
But I want to know specifically
that
one
guy,
that one kid's dad, and Nolan, because the kid volunteered, and the dad's like, no, it's too dangerous, and the kid's like, no, I'm making this choice for myself, and then he died. So I mean, I think the dad is gonna hold Nolan responsible, and I think that if they just blow that off, I think they're missing an opportunity for a really interesting story. I think that's everything we had to talk about Defiance. Moving on to Killjoys Season 1, Episode 6, titled One Blood. And this was another really good episode of Killjoys.
Yeah, it was.
Like, Killjoys is finally kind of found its footing. Like, it was a little uneven at first, but it's finally, I think it's really hit its stride.
Yeah.
So in this episode, we learn about a new kind of warrant called a black warrant. And basically is what it is they call in, like, the best of the Killjoys to go after this one person, and then whichever Killjoy, fulfills the warrant, they get the reward. And they're going after Big Joe is his name, and he is like, he's a celebrity among the Killjoys. He's kind of older, the elder statesman kind of the Killjoys, a mentor to a lot of them, specifically a mentor to Dutch.
Yes.
And one of the really interesting things about this episode is we saw, Dutch's mentor when she was in the harem, and Dutch's mentor when she became a Killjoy.
Yeah.
And just the relationship that she had with each of them, I think was really interesting.
Yeah. And also what was really interesting is they both disappointed her.
Yeah.
And it's almost, I imagine Dutch, that's got to be hard on her to know, like, two people who have taken her under their wing have gone bad and disappointed her. And, that's got to be something.
The harem guy way worse than Joe.
The harem guy way worse. Yeah, I think she kind of forgives Joe.
Yeah.
But
to the point where she refused to kill him, and Fancy actually had to do it instead.
Yeah.
And actually, the first episode, I didn't like Fancy at all.
Yeah. I like him now.
I like him now.
I like him now.
He's kind of funny. He's like, every group needs an asshole, and I'll be the asshole.
And it's totally true, because nobody wanted to shoot Joe, but Joe wanted to die because he didn't want to have a warrant on his head for the rest of his life. Not all the Killjoys know him.
Right.
So some of them are going to come after, and he just didn't want to live on the run anymore. And he wanted Dutch to do it, but she couldn't. So Fancy did it.
Yeah.
And it's exactly how he said, every group needs an asshole. I'm important.
The thing I found really interesting, and it's almost not really a throwaway scene, but it was a very short scene at the end of the episode.
Just a teaser.
Yeah, and we find out that Johnny actually knows about Klein. He knows about, Dutch's mentor when she was in the harem.
Which begs the question, why didn't Dutch say anything to Johnny when
way
the box
earlier.
showed up? Yeah.
Like, I mean,
obviously she hasn't told him everything, because otherwise when he saw the box he would have known.
Right.
But he knows enough. He probably knows a simplistic version that he was the leader of the harem and he could potentially come after her.
Yeah. And so the fact that she waited this long to tell them, because Johnny's first reaction is, all right, we need to go.
Yeah, we need to disappear.
So if it's that bad a problem, and Johnny knows it's that big of a problem, the fact that she kept it secret so long seems actually counterproductive.
Yeah.
Which that seems out of character for Dutch to me.
But on the other hand, Dutch is a very independent person, and she might have wanted to solve the problem on her own.
Yeah.
And it was only when she failed to do so that she brought Johnny in, which does seem in character for her.
Yeah, but let me not be a problem for these guys.
Yeah.
So
I just solve this, get it taken care of, and then we're good, and I don't have to bother them with it. And now she's like, I can't.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't really considered the inner conflict within Dutch because they didn't really explore that at all. So that would have been neat to see, that conflict with, okay, do I tell them or don't I tell them? And she just went too straight, no, I can't tell them.
Yeah, I mean, the way it was written, it made us think that Johnny didn't know anything about her past.
But I thought that was really interesting that he does, and I'm excited to see where that goes from here. Okay, 2 more things that I thought were really, really interesting in this episode. First of all, what the hell is Klein?
Yeah.
Because Dutch stabbed him in the gut like 7 times. And he didn't even flinch, and the blade came out with barely any blood on it. And the way they do color in Killjoys is a little different. Like everything has an orange or a yellow hue to it. So I couldn't tell what color the blood on the blade was.
Yeah, you could just tell that the blade was wet.
Yeah.
But you couldn't really tell what was on it.
So he's obviously not entirely human because that would fell anybody else.
Or he's had some sort of mods done to like get rid of pain or something because he didn't even flinch at all.
I mean, getting stabbed that many times, I assume, would basically gut a person. And I don't know. I want to know more about him because that could be really, really cool. And the final thing is Dutch is finally going on the offensive.
Yes.
Like Johnny's like, all right, he's coming back after you. We need to go. And Dutch is like, no, we're going after them.
We're going after him. We're going to figure out what's up, and we're going to take him down.
And I am jacked for the rest of the season now. Because, I mean, right now, up till now, Dutch has been, I don't know, not passive, but just kind of wait and see kind of mode. Like not really been as aggressive as I think she could have been. And now the fact that she is going on the aggressive, oh man, it's going to be really, really neat. I like it. Okay, and finally, Dark Matter Season 1, Episode 7, titled Episode 7. And this was another great episode of Dark Matter. Just keeps getting better. And we meet 2 new characters this episode, both of them temporary characters. First of all, we meet Sarah, and through whom we get a lot of info about 3.
Yes. And I kind of feel like after watching the entire episode, I kind of feel like Sarah was just a throw-in to explain why 3 has no more interest in 2. I was a little disappointed in their little storyline. The whole time I was like, I think she's lying. I think she's lying. And then she dies, and I'm like, well, I guess we won't find out if she was lying. She probably wasn't lying.
See, I totally bought her story the whole time. I'm like, all right, because what it seems to me like is none of the crew are as bad as what their dossiers say.
Yeah.
Like
that was the only part of that story that I did like, is that it's 3 who just automatically think is just as bad as his rep states isn't that bad.
Yeah.
I liked that, but that was about the only thing I liked about their whole thing.
And what is a little disappointing about it is they had to use this character to get to that.
Yeah.
So the fact that, okay, we'll do this, basically a throwaway character to explain something about 3. I'm like, I wish that they could have gone about that a little bit differently and maybe not, have a one-off character.
Yeah.
The other character we meet is a new android named Wendy, and she is played by Ruby Rose, who was also in Orange is the New Black.
And she was amazing in Orange is the New Black, so we were super excited to see her in this.
The only problem I had with her performance is every once in a while, she would do that head tilt, the android head tilt, and then she would stop doing that. So that was like, okay, she forgot the physical mannerisms of an android. That little thing.
Yeah. And like when she's speaking, every once in a while you would be like, oh, she's trying to be android-ish and not sound as human. But then like the next scene, it's like she forgot she's supposed to be an android and she sounded very human, like she wasn't even trying.
See, I didn't pick up on that as much because she's basically a sex bot. Or a pleasure bot. So the fact that she came across as a little more human and lifelike, I'm like, okay, fine. But just the physical mannerisms, she didn't really manifest. She fell out of those every once in a while.
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm kind of concerned about as far as Ruby Rose goes is I'm afraid, okay, she was in Orange is the New Black as kind of a seductress, and then she's in Dark Matter as a seductress. And I'm afraid she's going to get typecast now and be a one-trick pony. And that would be disappointing because I think she's got a lot of potential as a performer.
But on the other hand, our routine android, she was freaking incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my god, her acting like blew everybody out of the water in this episode when she switched the accents and all of this. Oh my gosh, she was phenomenal.
And what's interesting is she has an interaction with Five where she basically says, you know, I don't really have feelings. But then she is totally jealous of Wendy. And then to the point where she, you know, Five tells her, like, you know, maybe just give Wendy a chance. She's trying to fit in. And then she does. And she actually expresses some feelings. And I'm like, okay, I think the android is actually... There's more to her than what we know so far. And I'm excited to find out more. And that's pretty much everything for Dark Matter. If we missed anything in any of these 3 shows that you think we should have talked about it, let us know in the comments.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Okay, we're right in the middle of our subscriber giveaway, and we're at 231 subscribers as of the recording of this video. When we hit 250, we will announce the winner. Now, how this works. To be eligible for the prizes, you have to be, number 1, a subscriber, and number 2, share any one of our videos. Go ahead and share this one, you know, just if it's convenient. So, what are the prizes? Well, first of all, you will get to choose one of these 3 comics. First of all, the Walking Dead #1 variant from Wizard World Nashville in color, or the Wizard World Chicago Walking Dead variant #1, or that same comic in black and white. The other prize that you will get is this signed photograph of Boba Fett himself, Jeremy Bulloch. I hope you guys like that one. That was, I thought, the coolest picture that they had to choose from. So I was like, that's the one right there. And it's actually a leftover from Celebration Anaheim. Alright, so that's pretty much everything. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.